a lot of people say you can't link migration to housing. You absolutely can because there's no housing available.
No.
G'day, everyone. Welcome to the Bothy.
G'day.
Today we're going to talk about post-COVID migration and how it's affecting Australia. Not so much from a social or cultural point of view, but just from a being able to rent a house or buy a house point of view. Because we've both got kids that are moving from teenagers into their 20s.
They're going to be living in my house for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to find somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting hundreds of thousand people's in, and people are all getting, there's what, 200,000 people being born every year? So there's 200,000 there. They're all growing up. It's like, my friend, he said he has to actually go. He sees a house and he goes, right, I'm going to offer them an extra 100.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
Just to try and get the house.
Yeah.
It's like 100 more than what you actually went. Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
If you offer the actual amount, you'll never get it.
Crazy.
It's bullshit.
I recently got a rent increase notice for an additional $180 a week, which works out to be about 10 grand a year. I try to find a cheaper place and there just aren't any. What little is available, there's dozens of people lined up. Lots of them are immigrants and they have plenty more money than I can possibly get. I'm already working 2 jobs, one more rent increase, and my family, my 1-year-old baby, we're facing homeless. We've got nowhere to go. My family's already been forced out of Sydney for the same reasons. I want to know, is the government going to cut immigration to match housing availability, or are we just going to keep going until every regular working Australian is homeless?
So we've done a little digging into some numbers. So let's have a look at the immigration numbers against dwellings built, and you'll start to get out. Yeah. Before the end of the 2017 financial year, the biggest number of immigrants ever in a single year into Australia was 263,000. That'll give you an idea. During COVID, net migration was minus 84,940. So it went backwards. A lot of people left Australia because they weren't getting benefits and they didn't have a job. They couldn't work. Since then, in 2021 to 2022, which was sort of more a half a year than a full year, 203,590 was our net migration number.
So it went back up almost to what it was before.
And we built 146,000 dwellings in that period. 2022 to 2023, 535,000 immigrants. 2,000, that's net migration. That's people in, people out, temporary and permanent and long-term. 2023-24, 445,000 immigrants. 24 and 25, so this financial year we're in now, was supposed to be a big pullback.
Yeah.
The Labor government budgeted for 260,000 people net immigration into Australia. In December, they very quietly reforecast that to 340,000.
So only 80,000 more.
And at the end of March 2025, this year is already up to 366,000.
So and the year finishes in
June. 30 June. So we'll be over 400,000.
So we've got another 3 months.
Yeah. Be well over 400,000.
Well done, Labor.
Well done, Labor. In February, this number staggered me. Net migration peaked at an all-time high of 3,991 net immigrants per day.
3,991. A lot of them will be schoolies returning to university.
Yes, absolutely. But it's 110,000, over 110,000 for the month of February. So that is a lot of students coming in, but no one going out.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to go out once they're here.
Why would you?
No.
So the reason for the blowout, according to the federal government, is that people, once they're here, they don't want to leave. And once you've overstayed your visa, the only way you're ever getting kicked out of Australia...
So they don't look for them?
No.
There's not people that go around trying to, find these people, to organise them and
No, I see here.
Nothing?
No. You've got to be pulled over by the police because you broke the law driving or you robbed someone or whatever you've done.
That's the only way they're going to get found.
The only way you get caught.
Wow.
Yep. So what they do is they disappear into the community and, next financial year, 2025-26, is budgeted to be 185,000 migrants. So in the last 5 years, it's approximately 1.5 million that have come into Australia, 1.6 million. those people require 615,000 dwellings to be built. And in that time, we've built 610,000.
So we've built the exact amount
pretty much
that people
to cover migration.
Well, what about the people who live here?
No,
Nothing.
we haven't built anything.
Right. And what's the shortfall?
The natural population growth in the same period is net approximately 440,000.
So I was way out, and I said
no,
200.
you're right, but then you got deaths.
All right.
Yep. Migration at the moment is outnumbering natural births and deaths by 4 to 1.
Yeah.
It's expected that 180,000 Australians will join the home ownership or rental market in this financial year coming up and require 72,000 homes on top of
the 610.
So there's no homes for them.
No.
So
that's why it's so hard to get into the bloody rentals, isn't it?
Well, we're not building nearly enough homes. That's obvious. We've both spent a lot of time in the building trade, and it's interesting. I was talking to someone today who said that May was their busiest month for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Which is awesome. So maybe it is turning the corner. But if you look at April's approvals, they were really low. So that doesn't bode well for the
it doesn't look good on paper, does it?
Year, no. So why do we get so many migrants? Well, the government says it's to stimulate the economy. So even if they don't get a job straight away, even if they're on benefits, they spend those benefits, which creates income and taxes. Yeah, shop owners are getting income. GST is being collected. So it does stimulate. But
don't they have to give them money in the first place?
Yeah.
So isn't it like counterintuitive?
Yeah, but it does pump money into the economy that they're going to get money back from. So it's like almost like an investment for them. But they are getting the dole off the bat. So $8.96 a fortnight, plus rental assistance if available, plus child payments and assistance with daycare.
Or if one of them's handicapped or can't
disability.
Work.
Yeah, exactly right. So a lot of people say you can't link migration to housing. You absolutely can, because there's no housing available.
No.
You don't link migration to the cost of housing, but right now the cost of housing is prohibitive. The availability of housing, as you've said, your friend there's not enough houses to rent. We have a family friend as well trying to rent. They go and see properties every day, and every week they get disappointed. They cannot find a place.
Tell them to offer them more money.
They are.
Yeah, they are already.
Yeah. So I think we can link migration to our housing prices, availability, housing prices. So how do we fix it? Well, I don't understand why we can't fix the housing crisis by reducing migration a little.
At least in the short term.
Just for 5 years.
Just so we can catch up.
Get back on track. Get housing. And then once we've got a glut of houses, that'll do two things. If you've got more supply than demand, prices will come down. Yep. And the immigrants can come in and find rental properties pretty quickly.
Right away.
Yeah. So it's quite a help.
We don't want it to end up being like Britain, where they're like opening hotels or like shutting hotels and then open them just for migrants.
Correct.
Then they're everywhere.
Can't stay there anymore. And you got to put off all the staff because we're bringing our people.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's hotels all over bloody UK.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We do not want that.
We don't. What we are slowly becoming, unfortunately, and I saw it a fair bit in Brisbane. I haven't seen it too much in Melbourne. There's a little bit of it. There's tent cities popping up.
Yes.
I was really surprised in Brisbane at the amount. And now they're saying they're illegal. You've got to go and park yourself somewhere else. But
it doesn't matter. If they've got nowhere to stay, it's like, can you blame them?
So homelessness in Australia by the end of this year will hit 50 and 1,000, so 5%.
5%
of people will be surf catching or living in a tent or on a park bench.
That's ridiculous.
5%. We shouldn't have any homeless people. No. We don't have 5% unemployment, mate. So there's homeless people at work that are living in their car or on someone's couch.
We've only got a population of 28 million. It's like freaking. That's that. Some states in America are bigger than that.
Correct. Except cities are pretty much that size. In 2025, 13.4% of Australians will live below the poverty line. So they're finding it really hard to.
What percentage was that?
13.4%. 3.3 million Australians
below the
poverty line. Can't afford to rent or pay a mortgage or live week to week.
Yeah.
Are relying on assistance.
Well, that's only going to go up if they bring more immigrants in.
Correct.
And they can't get a job either.
I don't know what percentage of that 3.3 million are immigrants, but you'd think 8%.
There must be a big percentage.
Because if they're trying to live on benefits, they are below the poverty line straight away. Yep. So if they're coming out to live with family and getting support, then maybe that's all good. But you would imagine that of that 3.3 million, a percentage of that would unfortunately be immigrants.
You'd think at least 30%, right?
Could be. So I also looked at what migrant groups are growing in Australia at a rapid rate, at a rate faster than Australians are repopulating our own nation. And Indian Australians are the largest migrant group in Australia, other than English. So their population has grown at 10% per year for 10 years, not including the COVID period.
Yeah.
And now makes up 3.5% of the Australian population, so it's just over 1 million.
That would be close to Aboriginal population, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, 3 or 4,
it is.
5%.
Yeah. The Muslim Australians are another growing segment of the Australian population. They're growing at a steady 5% and have been every year for 25 years.
Mm.
And they now make up 4% of Australia's population. And that's not one from one nation. That's from a lot of Muslim countries, be it Africa, Middle East, whatever. Australia's population is growing at 2.4% naturally.
Yeah.
And we now have the Muslim population growing at almost double what the Australian population is growing at. And the Afghani population, as we discussed the other day, has gone from 35,000 in 2010 to this year being 120,000. So there's a population that's growing quite quickly.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that given your choice of places to live, Afghanistan, Lebanon, Sudan, you'd come to Australia every day of the week, or the UK, or America, or whichever Western country, Germany, whoever would have you.
Yeah.
They'd have to be better than it is right now. And it's happening. They are migrating. So
everywhere. Oh, look at Europe. I mean, the influx of all ethnicities in Europe is just going crazy. I mean, Ireland, they're out in the streets now protesting the amount of immigrants they've taken in, because they can't sustain that many.
No. The problem is we can't house them.
Yeah.
So
it's the same in Ireland.
There was a push, especially when we were going to get the Commonwealth Games, there was a massive push on temporary housing for the athletes, and that was then going to be turned into temporary housing. Just like, I don't know whether you remember in COVID, one of our commenters reminded me the other day, we were going to have this massive COVID temporary living centre set up at Adelaide.
Yeah.
And then that was going to be turned into temporary housing.
It's still there.
Well, it never got built, I don't think.
Yeah, it got built.
Did it?
Well, I don't know if it was one in Avalon, but the company I was working for did some of the security doors for them.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like little cubicle rooms and stuff that families, or maybe 2 people could live in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it definitely got built. Because he said, if you ever get put in there, because it was during COVID, so he said, it's a bit like a prison.
Yeah.
He said, if you ever get put in here, he said, I'll tell you how to open the windows because they're locked from the blah, blah, blah. I went, okay, beauty.
I can get out.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Is migration impacting not so much the cost of housing, but certainly the availability of housing?
The amount of them,
Yeah, it's extremely hard to even find a place to rent, let alone then coming up with the money to pay the rent. There's just no properties available, and houses on the market, if they're at the right price in the right area, they do not last a day.
No, they're snapped.
Yeah, obviously there's still some people that are holding out and wanting more money, but let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah.
This isn't about race or about anything. It's really about availability, and should we just slow migration down a little bit to try and
catch up on
get on top of
the housing problem we've got now.
Let us know what you think.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.